When I think about the kingdom of God, I think it must be like the world that God imagined for us. The Garden of Eden, paradise. Everyone getting along with everyone and no one doing without. Well, Jesus talks a lot about that kingdom, and he even goes so far as to say, the kingdom of God is within you. And the kingdom of God is very near. He taught us to pray, thy kingdom come. I guess if the kingdom has not yet come in its fullness, it's because I'm not doing what I need to do to make that happen. Are you? What are some of the signs of the kingdom that are familiar to us? Of course, things like love and justice and compassion and peace and acceptance. But lately, I've been thinking about some signs of the kingdom that are not specifically mentioned, at least not by name, in the Bible. I want to share 3 of them with you. Benefit of the doubt. Judge not, lest ye be judged. It really bothers me when I step out of my comfort zone and make a point to tell someone good morning, and the person totally ignores me or looks away. The other day, I was complaining about this to my sister, how I had felt snubbed by a gentleman that morning, and she asked, "Did he hear you?" Well, needless to say, it gave a different perspective to the situation. Maybe he was hard of hearing and I didn't say it loud enough for him to hear. Maybe he was thinking about something else or had earbuds in his ear and was listening to the news. Maybe I haven't answered sometimes because I didn't hear or was distracted. Going beyond the bare minimum. Jesus didn't feed 5,000 people with just enough to tide them over until they got back home. They ate until they were satisfied. And there were 12 big baskets of leftovers. This morning when I was walking my dog, we passed a house where the owner was out mowing the space between the sidewalk and the street. While we were still a ways off, he shut off the mower and waited for us to pass. He for sure didn't need to do that, but it was nice, and it didn't go unnoticed. This is something I've learned from the Spanish-speaking community, but yet have to put fully into practice. When I was in Bolivia many years ago is when I first experienced it. You know how when someone comes to visit and you ask, "Can I get you something to drink? Coffee or water maybe?" Well, if you're visiting someone in Bolivia, and I dare say in any Spanish-speaking country, most likely they will simply bring you something to drink on a tray. They don't ask if you would like. A few months ago, I had a terrible cold and stayed home for a few days, even missing the weekend masses. One of the Hispanic women, without asking if I'd want her to, brought me a huge container of homemade chicken soup with lots of chicken and tortillas. She didn't call first and ask if she should. She just did. Extreme generosity. I feel like this is a little bit of a public confession, but yesterday there were a couple of Mexican men outside of church asking for money from people as they were entering for Mass. I doubt if anyone turned them down as they reached into their pockets, remembering that they too were once in a situation of having to ask for help. I haven't been. So it seemed natural to ask them to move away and not ask for money. All during Mass, I kept thinking about what I had done and how I had treated the stranger and how I had deprived some people from the chance to perform a work of charity. What would Jesus have done? I'm certain it would have been quite different from what I did or didn't do. What you do to the least of these, you do to me. Words of Jesus. I'd like to say lesson learned, But from past experience, I know that I don't always recognize Jesus in the person who needs something from me. I can only pray and try to do better. I've been reading the book Love Does by Bob Goff. His whole point is that love does. Love doesn't just talk pretty or shrink away from tough situations. Love does. What a concept. Sound familiar? It should. It's really all that Jesus taught, summed up in 2 words. Love does.